Hey everybody, Jody, just thinking about the distinction in my life between doing something for a reason and doing something for a purpose. And I think all my life I was looking for somebody outside of me to give me the reason to do things. And I wasn't connecting with anything deeper than that. For some reason, I think I know because I've done a lot of work. I think I know what that reason's in my head, what that reason was. And I wonder if I'm the only one who always looked for someone who was wiser or older or had more experience to tell me what I should do. I didn't have enough confidence to believe that I could possibly know on my own. And so I always looked for somebody else to connect with and to be able to say, this is the path to go on. But what's really weird about it when I think about it now, I always liked it when people would tell me things that resonated with what I already wanted to do. People that would give me permission to do the things I knew I already wanted to do. And I wouldn't really want to hear from people who told me something else. Like I remember older people saying things like, "Oh, you don't want to do that. Oh, no. That wouldn't be right." I guess maybe it was everybody who would tell me no were the people I didn't want to hear from. I was only looking for my own echo chamber, now that I know that term from politics and where we are right now. And I think I was just looking for somebody to resonate with me and to be able to have that conversation about something that was greater than what I already knew, but that I sensed. And I could never find it. And I now, in looking back, I tell myself I never had a mentor. I never had anybody who cared enough about me to, guide me to do something. But I don't think that's true. I think in looking back, I only remember the people who I thought were holding me back. And so I have selective memory in looking back, I guess. And I only remember the people who tried to guide me from their own perspective, because what I wanted to do and the things I thought about and the conversations I thought were important were probably ones that they hadn't ever really thought about. And only, again, it's all in hindsight, right? All of this is in hindsight, because I don't know yet how to plan things going forward that look and feel different than the traditional SMART goal setting. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. We're supposed to set SMART goals. We're supposed to do things every day. Take this action, do this, and you'll get this. And I just think there's a process out there that's a little bit different than that. I don't know what it is yet. So I've been looking for people to tell me that it's okay to believe things that way. And maybe there aren't a lot of people yet who are wanting to find something outside of that norm. And right now, where I find myself in this, I don't even have terminology for it. I've been saying it a lot lately, calling it the messy middle, whatever it is, this place where the whole world has slowed down and we're ready, I am at least, to start getting things back to some semblance of sanity again. And maybe instead of the new normal, it's now the new reality. And the new reality is going to be one, for me at least, that's a lot more authentic and a lot more willing to have those conversations that maybe there aren't a lot of people that are thinking that way yet. I know this might sound a little crazy right now because I'm still working it out in my own head, but I have been attracting people in my space lately who are looking for the ability to have a conversation with somebody who's not going to judge their dreams. And that's what I have been looking for my whole life. It's weird to think about that right now because this has just happened in the last week where people have wanted to meet with me. They've said, I've heard about you from somebody else and they said that I should contact you. And I have no idea who they are or why they thought they should contact me. But in the course of a conversation, we both came to a place where we were both richer for having had that dialogue. This just happened to me this week. And I had never met this person before. We got together and we had a conversation and it was amazing. At least it was for me. And I think it was for her. And together we created something, a conversation, a dialogue, a feeling, a space where things were possible that weren't possible before we came together in that conversation. You can call this a mastermind because that's the terminology that Napoleon Hill uses in Think and Grow Rich. The mastermind comes together when the best of us is in a spirit of harmony. And then we create this other mind, this best of all of us. And when we are in that space of harmony, there's no telling what the outcome will be. And so when people say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I have no idea, because what might happen when we create something that is in a mastermind setting, I would be limiting a vision by saying it needs to be what I see it to be today, right now. And that doesn't always work with coaches and trainers who are teaching a process that is like the SMART goal setting process. And so I've struggled because I can't put what I sense I am here to do in the world into words, into a saleable product. And, you know, I think back to the first time I really had this experience was with a client who took a chance on not having me do a speech, because I've been doing speeches forever. Present on this. We want you to do a keynote on this. We want you to talk about this. This client allowed me to be creative and to say, here are the bullet points, but I don't know how we're going to get there. We had small group activity. There were about, I don't know, 200 people in the audience. And I had the opportunity to improvise and to be able to say from stage, let's have a conversation at your tables and talk about this. And they had mics and they had a mic runner, and they said, let's talk about it from your table. What did you talk about? And then I was able to say, okay, great, let's jump off that and let's talk about that. When I was trained in how to do platform speaking, I was told to never, ever have a Q&A, because you might have somebody who will throw you off and then you'll lose your credibility. And that's the way I was trained. When you do a platform speech, you stand over here, you look to the left, you do your talk, you look to the right, and you do your talk. And there were like, everything was staged and everything was a performance. And there's nothing wrong with this, but that never resonated with me. And I messed up my only TEDx talk. I messed it up because it didn't resonate with me to do a formal presentation where I have to memorize a speech and then just deliver it. That's not who I am. And so this space of being improvisational and being in the moment and being real has been really difficult for me to market. How can I say to a client, hire me, pay me money to do this, when I don't really know what's going to happen in the moment I'm with you? Yet every time I've felt the best about the contribution I've made, it's in those settings where a client takes a chance and says, we're going to trust you to guide us and facilitate us in a dialogue that's never happened before, because it has to come out of us. And that's what's really exciting for me, because where we are right now, who knows what to do? Who knows how to lead in this place we find ourselves? The only thing that's happening in my experience of the world right now is that we are finding somebody to follow so we can be mad at another side, so that together we can all talk smack about the other side of the issue. And that is so far from what I feel called to do. Right now, I feel called to bring people together, talk about what is working and how we might be able to become that type of leader. And that sounds squishy and soft, and I know, because it's not fighting. There's no fighting in this. There's no you're wrong and you need to and you have to. It's completely different from that. And that's how I don't know what else to call it. That's how I feel called to contribute. And so if you're interested in being part of that, let's talk about it. Let's find out how that way of leading might be exactly what your organization needs right now. Maybe there are other people who feel that they have a contribution to make, but they don't know how to do that inside your organization. They don't know how to do that for your company. Heck, you don't know how to do it yourself. Maybe it's just that you need a space to have a conversation. You need somebody to give you an objective observation without a declaration and without a prescription. This is something that is organic in a trusting way. And I guess maybe it isn't even needing to trust a process. It's to look back on who we've all been being and to take what's worked for us, what's gotten us the outcomes that we want, do more of that, and find out what hasn't worked and do less of that. And maybe with an objective observer, it would be a lot easier. I know it would be for me. So let's have a conversation about this. Get in touch with me. Get into our Get Real circle. We're still creating that, but it's turning out to be really fun. We've got more than 800 people who have joined us. I'd love it if you feel at all called to that, to don't just be an observer of your life. Get in and actually take part. Get real. Get in the circle. Contribute to the conversation. Ask questions. People have been asking me questions outside of the Get Real circle because somebody will say something in the circle and then somebody will contact me and say, I was really upset with that person about what that person said. And I'll say, well, don't tell me, tell them. And they're coming to me to be the mediator of a conversation because we don't know how to be real in our conversations. I'll help. I did. I helped this person offline. We actually had a Zoom dialogue and I said, jump back into the circle, have the conversation, ask the question. And that's the beauty of what we're creating together. Creativity in communication means that what we develop together in that space of feeling safe might never have happened before, or might never have happened in that combination because it's never been allowed to happen before. That's exciting to me. That's really exciting to me. And getting to know people on that level and connecting with them is what I know I'm called to do. It's my purpose. Connecting communities through communication. That's what it is. And however I can do that, that's my mission. That's what I'm called to do. So join our circle. I'll stop talking. Join our circle. I'd love to continue this conversation in another venue where we can actually work together to get both of our messages to the world. It's really, really important we do that. And if not now, when? If not us, who? It's time. Get real. See ya.